Hush is a horror film released in 2016 and directed by Mike Flanagan, who is best known for his horror films, including, but not limited to, Absentia, Oculus, Before I Wake, and Doctor Sleep. Flanagan is often praised by critics for his focus on characters and themes not often depicted in horror, an aspect of his style of directing that is definitely seen in the 2016 film Hush. In this movie, we follow Maddie, a deaf and mute author who is visited by her neighbor and friend Sarah at her isolated house in the woods. Sarah later returns to Maddie's house chased by a killer, but dies because Maddie can't hear her cries for help. The killer, realizing Maddie is deaf and mute, begins to torment and stalk her in a prolonged game of cat and mouse. The scene we will be analyzing takes place at the end of the film. Maddie is injured, and the killer is in the house. The scene starts in low lighting, tracking the man and tracking closer to Maddie to indicate his point of view. The steady movement of the camera, however, keeps us slightly detached from the man as we can hear and see him hobbling, but we are not. There is also a building tone in the background that, paired with the sound of his hobble, builds tension in his slow approach. This sound, however, cuts out in the moments after he speaks.
You fucking cunt.
The camera does a quick cut to Maddie's hand as she sets down the can with the label facing the camera to clue the audience in. As she gets up, the camera cuts to the man and begins to track both of them with more unsteady movements to convey the panic and rising tension of the scene. The camera faces Maddie, bouncing to mimic her limp, and the audio of the alarm is cut. We do not hear complete silence, and the sounds we hear are actually the ambient noise of an ultrasound machine. This shift in sound and camera movement is intended to connect the audience to Maddie in a way that we do not with the killer. Once more, we are immersed in Maddie's point of view, as the only thing we can hear is the rapid slowing of a heartbeat. The camera swaps from looking down at Maddie in a bird's eye shot to looking up at the man in a low angle shot as the flashing lights of the alarm light up the background behind him, making him look more sinister as he becomes the darkest thing in the shot. We see flashes of images of Maddie's life, clearly representing her life flashing before her eyes, in her final moments as the camera peers down at her. There's a cut to show her hand as she finally grabs the corkscrew, intended to clue the audience in and enkindle their hope in her surviving. The importance of this scene is that, obviously, it's the end of the film, the final showdown between protagonist and killer, and in these moments Flanagan drives home the connections made throughout the movie. Though we follow Maddie around through the entire film, we are uncomfortably submerged in her point of view in these moments so that we connect with her and root for her to survive, while we're disconnected from the killer so that we do not mourn his own fate.